Hello and welcome to Lewis Nichols Live Stories in association with Shane Solomon. And I'm really excited for today's interview. We've got Harley Benn. Thank you for coming down.
No problem. Thanks for having
me. You've been here for the last few days and you've enjoyed Cornwall so far. We've got lots to talk about, not so good and good from your time here.
I mean, I've had a blast, mate. I would be back here in a second. Like I said to you, I haven't been to Cornwall since I was about 12 years old. And yeah, what a place.
And we're going to talk about the go-karting later. We're going to talk about...
We could skip over the go-karting if you want. We don't have to talk about that.
We definitely do. You're one of these people in the world where people think they might know you, but they don't, in the sense of we read stuff online, you read stuff in newspaper articles, and that's all there is online about you. But today's kind of a chance for you to tell your story without it being edited, without it being twisted, you know? So I kind of want to go back to the very beginning, which is kind of your childhood and growing up, because we all know you are the son of a legendary boxer named Nigel Benn. So a lot of people assume you grew up in a family household, you know, he was your dad, you had your mum. What was actually the case with that?
Literally, you hit the nail on the head. Sort of everyone thinks because I come from a famous surname, a famous father, if you will, but it wasn't like that for me at all. I didn't grow up in fame or riches or anything like that. It was sort of when people think that when people know, that you come from a famous family, or you are the son of, or the daughter of, or they automatically, what I have realised automatically is, one, think you're stupidly rich, and two, think your life is perfect. And that really hasn't been the case for me. So yeah, it was, growing up, I was born in a place called Chichester, which is just on the coast, south coast, near Bognor Regis. And that was... do you know what I enjoy? From what I remember, I lived a very good life. I lived with my mum, and my nan was close by, and that's where sort of my mum's side of the family comes from. And I didn't see much of my dad at that time in my life. I think he visited me maybe once or twice in the first 5 years of my life. Wow. And yeah, so it wasn't great, you know. I didn't have a father figure as a young child, which a lot of people will know and a lot of people won't know. But there's also some false narratives of why and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been quite a lot to deal with over the years. Not so much when I was that age, sort of like 1 to 5 years. I mean, you don't really know what's going on really, but it was, I started to pick up on little things of, okay, maybe my dad is famous. Like just from things people would say to me when I started going to school, what people's parents would say to me if I went, you know, round someone's house for dinner or something like that after school. Like I get this comment, oh, your dad was amazing, wasn't he? And I'm thinking, yeah, like, I mean, I'd like to hope so. Like, not really knowing what they was talking about. I knew he was as a boxer and whatnot, but these were before the times of social media and stuff like that, and I wasn't watching boxing at that age, so I didn't really know what was sort of going on. Like, I knew my dad was different from most people's, but I didn't really clock how different. And it, like I said, it was nothing to deal with then, because in that age bracket of 1 to 5, you're not really, you just want to have fun and eat and watch TV and stuff like that, you know. But as I started getting older, that's when I started to realise more, and then I started to question, because my dad has been in and out of my life, more out than in, throughout the whole of it. So yeah, but that's how and where it started. I was born in Chichester, and yeah, I didn't see my dad very much at that time in my life.
You know, when somebody, so they idolise your dad, you know, he's one of the most legendary boxers in the world. But when you get older and people are telling you, oh, your dad was great at this, I remember this, and you're hearing all these stories, but yet your relationship was so distant, Is that difficult for you when other people are almost telling you about the person you should know more than them?
Yes, that's where sort of the conflict maybe started for me in my own head. Not conflict between me and my dad, but I mean like conflict within myself. It was like, so I'm going on skipping a few years here, when I sort of realised that, okay, my dad's this big famous boxer. Why don't I see him as like other people see their dads? And I understood that mum and dads weren't together. It was quite a common thing in this day and age, and even back when I was in my teens, mum and dad split up and whatnot. But there was, well, from what I know, my dad was on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and me, my dad, his wife, and my brother and sister, from different mums. So my half brother and sister, if you like. We went to the after party of, I don't know if you remember, I don't know if they still do it, but on I'm a Celebrity, they used to do like a reunion on ITV. It was Ant and Dec hosted it and whatnot, and that was the first time I ever sort of thought, whoa, okay, like my dad is famous, kind of thing, because I watched that I'm a Celebrity that he was on, and it was I'm sure it was the first one, and it was strange because I had such a good time going to this after party, and after that so we leave. We've got a limo there, a limo back. Stuff that I had never seen before. I was like, what is this? Like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, a limo's picking me up and whatnot, and I'm and it was from my dad's house. It was in Bexley Heath. It was a massive, big mansion and whatnot, and this was a side of life I'd never seen before. And but yeah, going back to the I'm a Celebrity reunion, got dropped back. I had a great night. I met loads of people: Tara Palmer Tompkinson, Tony Blackburn. Pretty much all of them, and had a really good time. But my dad sort of, and I vaguely remember, basically my dad wanted a word with my mum after I was dropped off and whatnot in the limo. I've gone upstairs or whatnot, and basically what was said was that he can't sort of come with us again. He was really well behaved. He was great, but basically, in a nutshell, I was getting told that I looked like my dad, and this one's the spitting image of his old man, isn't he? And I was apparently well behaved, and my siblings wasn't. And apparently, my dad's wife didn't want me around after that. For what reason, I don't really know, because looking like my dad and behaving on the night doesn't really give validation for not seeing your son on a regular basis, in my opinion. So that was kind of hard for me, because I remember, why am I not seeing my dad on a regular occasion, you know? And it was difficult, because I don't know if my mum, because I'm going back, I'm 28, I'm going back like years, like sort of 24, 23 years, you know? So it was probably hard for my mum to explain, because how do you tell your kid that your dad's not going to see you anymore for absolutely no fault of your own? I mean, it would be hard, you know? So, and it's many years ago, so I don't remember how I was told, and I don't think I was told sort of straight up, like, look, your dad can't see you anymore, kind of thing. It was just, I think she just used to make excuses for him. But yeah, that's where it sort of started and finished quite quickly. Like, he came into my life for a little bit, and then, yeah, that was it.
It's very complex, because people might not know, but I mean, your brother is Connor Benn, very well-known boxer.
Yeah.
But is it 4 days between
Four
you?
days, literally 4 days. So I'm born on the 24th of September, 1996, and Connor and India are born on the 28th of September, 1966. Yeah, 1996. So we're literally 4 days apart, and that's quite uncommon, you know.
Very. And you said earlier in the interview, there's a lot of false narratives in the sense of that situation and we spoke briefly last night about that, because your mum's never really had the chance to have a say. You know, she's not in the media, so people write the narrative for her and people read that. But what's the truth with that situation with your dad? Was you a result of an affair? Was it Connor?
So what sort of portrayed to the media is that my mum was an affair, and sort of I was the product of an affair. That just wasn't the case. My mum was in a very long-term relationship with my dad before Connor's mum, and that's not me taking digs or trying to slag anyone off at all. It's just the truth, and we all know it. Like, not as in like we all know it, as in like the people involved all know that that's the truth. But there was a false narrative painted because my dad decided to chose to be with Caroline and move on his life with Caroline, which isn't a problem. People, that happens every day, you know. But making out that my mum was an affair, I thought was really disrespectful to her and to me. And back in 2023, when I'd done a training camp with my dad, but we'll get on to how I got there anyway. But he pulled me and my mum into a room in the gym. And after sort of 26 years, 26 at the time, 26 years of sort of him painting a narrative, or, I mean, let's say he wouldn't just come out and say Lisa was an affair or something. It was the newspapers that would say it, but obviously that's been prompted by someone, whether it's my dad, his wife, or whoever. It would be, but he wouldn't correct it, and which I think is a little bit spineless in the sense of you've got a son and you're letting him think, but I didn't think it, but you are willing to let him think that he's a product of something that he's not, which that sort of rubbed me up the wrong way a bit, because like I said, back in 2023, he pulled me in a room and he, it was like he was about to hit me with some groundbreaking news, or he thought he was going to anyway. But he just said to me, I want you to know that your mum wasn't an affair. Me and your mum loved each other, and you was born out of a whole load of love. And it was like he wanted me to go, oh, wow, really? Was I already knew that. I already had full faith in my mum, trusted my mum, always have done. And I was, don't get me wrong, he was trying to do a nice thing. This wasn't coming from a place, he was trying to do a nice thing, I suppose. But I already knew that I wasn't a product of that. But I was also annoyed that why have you got to say this secretly in a little room? Why couldn't you have said that Harley came from a loving relationship that lasted years? Why has that got to be a secret? And yeah, that still to this day doesn't sit right with me, but that was, the narrative that was painted most of my life.
And that's the thing. We're going to go into it later. You did an interview with The Sun, and they very much chopped that interview and it made you look a certain way. The comments were very much, you came across that there was bitterness and resentment. And actually, in the time I've got to know you, that's far from the truth. And we'll go into that later. But I want to talk about the family dynamics with your mum and your nan, because I mean, I've seen you with your nan, for instance, and the relationship's beautiful. And same with your mum. You know, you had fish and chips. You said it was the best you've ever had. You're ringing her and telling her.
Yeah,
it's a really sincerely kind of an emotional relationship, and you seem very emotionally intelligent, and you don't see that necessarily from other members of your family, that emotional side. Did that ever cause an issue with your relationship with, say, your dad or your brother, the fact that you're more emotional?
Do you know what I sort of picked up on was that everyone picks up on it, that how close I am with my mum and my nan, and I don't think that because my dad used to try to slag my mum off to me quite a lot, which was, I think it was purely because of how close I was with her. And my dad's got 8 kids, and it's like every single one of them is closer because there's 3. He's got 3 baby mums altogether, but it's like all of them are closer to their dad than their mum, and I'm just closer with my mum and my nan because of, firstly, all they've done for me my whole life, and secondly, my mum was my mum and my dad in one for 99.9% of my life, But yeah, I have a very good relationship with my mum and with my nan, and it's because we've all been through so much together over the years. And unfortunately, my dad wasn't there for me. So yeah, it is what it is.
With your mum, for instance, you say she was your mum and your dad together. Obviously, we'll go into it later. You're a parent yourself now.
Yeah.
Do you look at your mum and your nan, for instance, and look at what they've done and have such a huge amount of respect and understand how tough that might have been at times?
Massively, like because I was a problem child as well. I wasn't just. I used to get into a lot of trouble. I used to go off the rails. I've not been the easiest son or grandson to deal with in any way, shape or form. So for them to still be sticking by me now after all the hell that I put them through, you can't do anything but respect it. And I know that they know I would do the same for them. So if we've all got each other's backs, and that sort of stuff money can't buy, and having relationships like that with your family is probably the best thing that you can get in this life.
When you say you were a problem child, in what aspect, what kind of things would you do that you consider to be problematic?
It was more like, what didn't I do? I got arrested all the time. I used to do drugs. I used to get in a lot of trouble at school. I think I got kicked out of about 8 schools in total. And I just didn't really have any sort of male role model or anyone, to put it bluntly, put me in my place kind of thing, because that is what I needed to do. And when I got to sort of 13, 14, 15, it would just get harder for my mum and my nan to try and put me in my place, like thinking, right, well, I can just walk out the door and go where I want, and if I want to go out for 3 days and turn my phone off, I will. And if I was always getting arrested, and my mum and nan would have to come to the police station, and it was just, I've put them through a lot. I had a lot of behavioural problems growing up and whatnot. So yeah, it made us, as much as it was putting strains on all of our relationships with the way I was behaving and whatnot, it also brought us closer together in the end.
When you say you did drugs, was that something that was a one-off or every now and then, or was it a problem that you had to really deal with?
So when I was in my teens, I used to go out partying all the time, go on benders, hills, cocaine, like literally, but in my young teens, not even in my older teens. I would say it was a problem in the sense of, don't get me wrong, I wasn't doing drugs every day, and in that sense, that is a problem. Oh my God, I need drugs. It was just, I did every weekend, I would say, for many years. And in a way, I'm glad that I got that out of my system, but I'm glad that I found out that that was not the way to go in life quite early. And because I see people that are my age now that start dabbling in drugs, lose everything, lose their careers and whatnot. But it was very hard time because my mum and my nan couldn't control me. And they was always worried, like, he's 14, 15 years old out doing drugs. And they know me so well. When I got home, they'd be able to tell if I had done drugs or not. So,
you know, it seems just an observation in the time I got to know you and this interview is that you had a lot of unanswered questions. There were a lot of questions that you didn't know the answers to and a lot of confusion. I'm guessing that kind of lifestyle of drugs and everything is a distraction. It's something to numb that, essentially. So would you say it's a result of what you went through that kind of drove you to that? So I couldn't imagine if you had the same support as, say, Connor, you know, growing up with that dad that invests the time and have that belief. I couldn't imagine he would do that.
Yeah, I mean, from having my own son as well, now it's like, okay, my son will not be doing that at that age. And I think you need that male authority. If you're a strong-headed male yourself, which I was in my early teens, no one couldn't tell me anything, kind of thing. But do I think my dad could have told me? Or, yeah, I do. Like, I think that male authority is very important in a man's life or in a boy's life, and I didn't have any of it. So, and I probably my friends were a lot older, so whether I was seeking sort of male role models from my older friends who did drugs, and so I just sort of maybe latched onto that, and then it sort of turned into a problem because I was doing drugs most weekends and things like that. And yeah, it was just I always said it never affected me, like me not having a relationship with my dad when I was sort of like in my teens. But yeah, it obviously did play a big part in my problems.
With Connor Benn, he's your half brother.
Yeah,
one of, you know, he's doing incredibly well. He is one of the biggest names in boxing. He's kind of the same legacy at the minute as your dad.
yeah.
That must be difficult in the sense of to look back and think, wow, you know, he's training with my dad all the time. He's there at every press conference. He's right by his side. Why don't I get just a slice of that or a percentage?
Yeah.
Why isn't it split?
And literally, that is a question I can't answer. I have no idea whether it's because the family didn't want there to be any sort of outsiders, or because they treated me as an outsider, and I don't know whether that's because I just didn't bow down and agree to everything Nigel did and said. Like I said, I'm a strong-headed man, and I sort of have my own views and my own thoughts, and if I don't like them, I won't sort of stay silent on it and just let it be. I'll have my say, and I think that sometimes I've had my say when I've spoke to my dad and whatnot, it's not been liked, and the truth is not liked from them, which is unfortunate because I have to accept a lot of truths in my life and whatnot. But yeah, there's not been sort of any and until recently, but we'll move on to that soon. There hasn't been any sort of, okay, you know what, Harley was treated unfairly here, still up until this day he's been treated unfairly and whatnot. There was never sort of any of that. So
would you like there to be, if you're, because I notice as well, you reference sometimes Nigel or your dad, you go between the two, but would you like it if he came to you and said, do you know what, I was wrong, I should have been there for you more, I should have guided you more, I should have been more of a dad to you? Would you get something from that?
I probably would, but that would only be said sort of behind closed. Behind closed doors, and I don't understand why that is an issue. It's like I'm missing something here. Like, okay, so you haven't been a great dad to me. You've sort of painted me to the media to be a product of something that I'm not. We're all grown-ups now. We're all mature. I mean, I'm quite immature, but I mean, in that sense, we're all mature. We're all well, I know I'm emotionally mature, and why can't we all just be straight with each other? And I'll be honest with you, would I be open to having a relationship with my dad again? Probably not. Unless the truth was spoken about, and I don't think that he could do that, and that's something I wouldn't accept. So,
well, you very publicly came out recently and said, I'm cutting off my brother and I'm cutting off my dad. And there were photos and videos of you all together, and it looked, as a happy family, I guess, on media at least. What made you come up with the decision to say, do you know what, enough's enough, I'm cutting you out of my life, and going public with it as well?
Sort of my own piece, if I'm honest with you, because I would always, and I do not mind talking, like even whilst I've been here, I've spoke to people about my dad and his boxing career, and have said nothing but good words. Nothing but good words. Like not said a bad word about the man. Only good stuff. People come up to me, I remember your dad's fight with so and so, and your dad was this and that. I'm like, I totally agree. He was an amazing fighter. He was great. Like, he's great to watch. I would still go and watch some of his fights now. They was all entertaining. He was one of a kind. Even my brother Connor, absolutely great boxer. I think he was. Well, I know he was involved in the best fight I've ever seen live, with Chris Eubank Jr. And them kind of things. It's like I'm not a hater. I'm a supporter naturally. So when people speak to me about them, with the boxing and stuff like that, I'm more than happy to speak about it. I know I'm going to get, for the rest of my life, I will be asked and spoken to about my brother, about my dad and whatnot, and I won't have a bad word to say when it comes to the boxing side of things. But it was just more of people not knowing about the relationship side and whatnot, and them just leaving me out of everything. I just got angry with it, and especially in that interview, it was quite a hot-headed interview, to be fair, and I'd done it when I was angry, and it's not like I regret, because everything I said was pretty much the truth, but it was just the way I come across quite angry in it, and the reason that I cut them off is for my own peace, I'll be honest with you. And it did give me peace. So
that I watched that video, and it's not the person I've got to know over the last few days. The comments on there from the public were quite negative towards you, and I felt you could tell the interview was clipped. You know, and it went out the way whatever they wanted it to go out. It was very much. It made you look like the bitter, angry.
Because I did say good things about them, but that was obviously not published or put out in the video. It wasn't the editor had done me quite dirty on that one, I'll be honest, because it just basically made a whole video of me looking like I'm slagging people off, when that wasn't the case. I said very nice things and truthful things, but I don't take back anything that I said on there. It's all true.
It's very hard for, I was very lucky. I grew up with my mum and dad, and I come from a very close-knit family. And I know you don't look for sympathy, but it's hard not to feel sorry for you. When you hear you talk then, in the sense of you're so innocent to everything, and you were kind of a bit confused, why not me? But actually it has led you to go through some really tough times. And you've grown from it, you've learned. It probably makes now, the reason you're an amazing dad, for example. But it's hard not to feel sorry for you, genuinely. And it's nice that you can now come on and actually tell your story without it being edited, without us picking the clips that we're going to use. It will go out as it is. And I think it's important that people hear that, because you're not bitter and angry. You've now accepted it. You're an adult. You said, what? I'm moving on from that, and you're doing your thing now.
Yeah, and that is exactly it. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. Like, there's some people like my close friends, for example, that sort of know my story and know me. like when Connor was about to fight Eubank, it was, I bet you want Eubank to win, don't you, deep down? I'm like, no, I actually don't. I want Connor to win. Like, and it was quite a contradicting feeling within myself. But in my head, I'm like, okay, right, we've had our problems, we've had our differences. We was both born into, I'm not going to say chaos, but it was sort of chaos. We was born 4 days apart with different mums who didn't like each other, who both were having problems with my dad. And so we were born into chaos. But it doesn't mean that I want him to get beat up on live TV and whatnot. And I'm, like I said, going back to it, I'm just not a hater. If I see someone doing well, it doesn't, some people, it makes some people sick seeing others do well. And even if I've had deep issues with the person and whatnot, I'm not going to want my brother to lose in a very dangerous sport.
Yeah.
You know? So that's just me, who I am naturally. So
when did you last have a conversation or speak to Connor?
It's got to be a good few months ago now. This year wasn't the best of conversations. We met up and had some words. Because I sort of called him out to himself, not like publicly, to himself. Like, what's going on? Like, what is? I was sensing some real bad energy from him towards me, and I was just thinking, do you know what? I've done F all wrong here. Like, I'm trying to be your brother. We haven't lived in the same country for years and years. Kind of grew up in Mallorca and Australia. And do you know what? I've had some good times with Connor. I'll be honest with you. I've probably had better times with Connor. Well, no, for a fact, I've had better times with Connor than I have my dad. I've really enjoyed Connor's company before. I've really enjoyed having a brother before and doing what brothers do and stuff like that. I've really enjoyed times with Connor. But it was like he wanted to be the only boxer in the family. He wanted to be Nigel's only son. And that is genuinely the vibe that I get, is that, and a lot of people say that out of all my dad's kids, I look 10 times more like him than any others. And I think that rubs Connor up the wrong way, if I'm honest with you. For what reason, I don't know. And when I sort of came onto the boxing scene, absolutely no support from either of them, which was crazy to me. It's not like, even if I was to have, I don't know, gone and played football or basketball, I'd still expect support from, but I've gone into the same sport, the family sport, let's call it, no support whatsoever. And who supported me was my mum and my nan again. So yeah, it was, that was quite a tough pill to swallow. I'm like, right, you guys know everything there is to know about this sport. You guys could have helped me along and progress in this sport. Not that I want anything from anyone. It's just, to me, that's just natural, because I've grown up with such a close family and whatnot. Yeah. We've done everything to help each other all the time. So that to me is the norm. If a family member's doing this, we do whatever we can to push them on and support them. To them, that isn't the norm, which to me is strange.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. Like, I think family should be loving, supporting, caring, admit when they're wrong, have tough conversations with each other if they needed to be had. And yeah, I just wasn't getting any of them things.
I mean, today it's your nan's birthday.
Yes, it is.
And you talk very highly of her. If I was to ask you now, what's the most special thing about your nan, or special memory, or when you just think about your nan comes to your mind, what would you say?
I would say my nan is sort of the glue of the family, so to speak. So even when my mum couldn't deal with me, my nan would. I mean, my nan used to take me to my football matches, right up until flying to Dubai. And my football matches were when I was 6, 7 years old, and flown to Dubai with me to watch me fight a couple of years ago. So she's literally been there through everything, and also through the bad times, me getting arrested, nearly going to jail, nearly have taken an overdose and stuff like that. She's been there through some real horrible things, as well as the good things. So yeah, definitely the glue of the family.
When you talk about those tough times, we did have a conversation last night. I mean, there were times where you were really rock bottom, and it was more where you were just done with the situations you were in. How bad at one point would you say it got?
I suffer with chronic ADHD. I've had depression, anxiety, like chronic anxiety, and not anxiety in the sense of, I'll explain it this way. I think I've explained it to you before this way, but my anxiety is like, you could ask me to go and stand in front of cameras, in front of 100,000 people and say, here, Harley, go and chat to them for an hour. That wouldn't give me anxiety or an anxiety attack. If I couldn't, even going out to box, in front of a crowd and whatnot, no, that's actually a relief from my anxiety, which is strange, because I speak to other people with anxiety, they're like, oh no, I couldn't do that. I couldn't go and perform in front of a crowd or anything like that. My anxiety is worse when I'm left with my own thoughts, because I'm a massive overthinker due to my ADHD. So it has been real low before. Like, I wouldn't say that I've been suicidal, because I think that's quite a strong word, and I think sometimes that word's used too lightly.
Yeah.
Not taking anything away from anyone when I say it. I'm just saying I do think that word is used globally too lightly. Suicidal to me is wanting to or trying to end your life because you can't cope with it anymore. Me, I've just thought it would just be easier if life wasn't life, kind of thing. Like, I've never had sort of any intentions to take my own life or anything like that. But the lows have been real low. And if I wasn't a strong person, I probably would have thought like that.
Well, I want to go on to the boxing side, because obviously you didn't have a close relationship with your dad, yet you followed that sport. So it's clearly in your DNA. So when did you first kind of discover your own personal love with boxing as Harley Benn?
So I left school. I got kicked out of school, and I was like, right, well, what do I do now, kind of thing. So I was like, I want to start making some money, and so I went into sales. I was a really good salesman. I used to sell renewable energy and stuff like that. My first ever job was like a cold caller out of like 250 people. I was the best, and I was like, oh, okay, this could be me. This is like, and then sort of Wolf of Wall Street vibes. It was like working in that place, and the reason I started boxing was because I was like, oh, I'm just eating jam, donuts, and paninis every day, and he said, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna be fit. I'm just gonna do it for fitness and whatnot. Went to the boxing gym, started boxing, and is it me, or am I all right at this? Am I okay at this? Like, and I started boxing quite late. I didn't start till like 20, and that's late for boxing. And I slowly started falling in love with the sport. And then I saw Connor make his professional debut, and I was like, I could do that. Like, I love this sport. Like, I've fallen in love with it, and I watched Connor's professional debut, and I was like mesmerised by it. So I was like, do you know what? Give me a year. I'm going to have my professional debut. And I did. So I got thrown in at the deep end. I blagged it to Frank Warren that I had like 20 amateur fights and won them all, and I was this good amateur and whatnot. And yeah, so I blagged it, managed to get a contract with Frank Warren, and made my professional debut within a year. And it was crazy because it was never on the cards for me. It wasn't something that I thought I loved, but I fell in love with the sport.
Is it 11 fights?
Yeah, 11
9
fights.
wins,
Yeah.
2 losses. I mean, it's a good record.
Yeah. Do you know what? For someone that was learning on the job and never had a fight before my professional debut, yeah, it is. And I only intend on making it better.
If you could fight anybody on the scene right now, who would it be? Who would your dream opponent be?
I would say there's probably a few names, to be fair. I mean, Jake Paul has to be one of them.
Oh.
Like, no, but I would love to. I would love to fight him. I would love to be able to punch Jake Paul in the face because I think his fights are rigged. And
you want it to be truthful?
Yes, because you can't rig me. So
if he offered you 10 grand, 10 million, sorry. So that's going to be a rigged fight. Cool.
I mean, listen, it's 10 million. I can have a conversation about certain things, but no, genuinely, I would love to fight Jake Paul. I mean, also like it would be quite cool to see in the future who. I would like to fight a Eubank. I would potentially also like to fight a Benn. And
which one?
Yeah, the only other one that boxes currently.
Your brother Connor.
It would be like a super fight. You know, we've had all these arguments all our lives and whatnot, and it'd just be it's the best way to sort things out, I suppose, isn't it? In the boxing ring, fair and square. But I was in talks the other day about fighting one of Chris Eubank's other sons, Nathaniel, and that's something that we could get done this year. Okay,
that's
which
cool.
It is cool. It's like history repeating itself again. And Nathaniel's had a sort of similar life to me. Didn't grow up with his dad and whatnot, and wasn't that close with his dad, and there was quite a lot of problems there. I don't know them, but I'm not going to sit here and speak about another man's problems. I'm only saying what's already out there. It's not, this isn't breaking news about Nathaniel, it is out there. But he had a very similar relationship with his dad. It was a TikTok that went, semi-viral the other day, and it was just about the two oldest boxing sons of Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank. Like, they should fight because Nathaniel's a little bit older than Chris, and I'm a couple of days older than Connor, so it would be the two oldest sons. And none of us, I say none of us, me and Nathaniel haven't had that boost from our dads and whatnot. So it would be nice to create a little name for ourselves in that aspect. Right. Yeah.
Why won't Tommy Fury fight you?
You're gonna have to ask him. I mean,
you won't come on the show. We tried.
We was in the first time I went to fight in Dubai. My opponent pulled out on the night as I was walking to the venue. I was like, this is catastrophic. Like, I was so upset. It was ridiculous. It was on a Floyd Mayweather undercard. Like, it was at the Coca-Cola Arena in Dubai. Like, same size as the O2 pretty much, and packed out event. Like, when I say there was global stars ringside, like, it was some controversial global stars, but like some of the biggest stars in the world. And I was going to fight in front of them. I was walking to the venue to go and fight in front of them. My managers have come to me and said, no, Harley, your opponent's pulled out and we don't know why. I personally think it was because he wanted some more time to prepare. I thought he weighed up his options. I thought, no, do you know what? I'm going to pull myself out of this one, because there was no other excuse for it. And Tommy Fury's opponent pulled out on a night as well. So I was like, hang on a minute. And then as I'm thinking, hang on a minute, someone's come into me and say, Harley, do you want to fight Tommy? I was like, yes, but I don't, like, will he fight me? They said, yeah, no problem. Like, we'll get it sorted. We can get it sorted for tonight. But previously to that, Tyson Fury fought Dillian White at Wembley. And my phone went, would you like to fight Tommy Fury on that show? Let's say that was in 2021 or 2022. I was like, yeah, absolutely no problem. Like Fury versus Benn, that's going to build some hype. That'll be a good fight. And he's heavier than me, but I was happy to move up in weights. And about 10 minutes after I accepted, I got a phone call saying, yeah, no, he's decided against it at the minute, so we're going to find another opponent. No reason, no nothing. When there is no reason, it's because that person does not want to risk fighting you. Yeah. It's like, because if you were to say the reason otherwise. So anyway, that was playing in the back of my head when they went to his changing room to go and sort contracts and stuff like this. 5 minutes later, they've come back. What do you think they said? He's not. No, yeah, literally, wow. No. He doesn't. He doesn't want to. He's a fighter that doesn't want to take risks. That's not me. Well, yeah, pretty much is me slagging him off. If I'm honest. Yeah, he's a fighter that doesn't want to take risks, and I'd like to fight Tommy, but he seems like he's on his own path at the minute, and I'm probably quite a bit of a risk for him with not great reward. So, yeah. It's a wise decision for him to not fight me.
Well, since you've been in Cornwall, I mean, winning's not something you've been good at, let's be honest. You played Ryan yesterday, you went to the go-karts, yes. You were very cocky after the little test thing.
Wait, it's not called a little test thing, it's called a qualifier.
And you got a point of a second.
Yeah, so it's called a qualifier, not a little test thing. And so the qualifier, they do qualifiers in like F1 World Championships and stuff like that. Would you call that just a little? But
what you were doing was nowhere near that level.
Granted, but granted, I will give you that. I'll give you that one. But it's a qualifier, and I'm very competitive, so.
And you lost on the thing that counts.
Yes, I lost where it mattered.
It's like sparring and doing well with sparring.
I was literally about to say that analogy. It's like sparring well for your whole training camp and then going in the fight and losing, which I've done before also. So yeah.
It was is it Saint Evil, Shane? Am I saying that right?
Saint Val.
Saint Val?
Yeah, I think.
Is Shane alive behind there? Okay, so yeah, it was the go-karting circuit. You went there. Looked the part,
and yeah, I was confident Ryan was pulling up behind me, and after the qualifiers, I was looking back like, oh, I've smoked you guys, you guys are like, I thought I was like, because for people that don't know, a qualifier is who gets the fastest lap time. Doesn't matter sort of who finishes the race, it's who gets the quickest lap time, and I thought I got the quickest lap time by like at least 5 seconds. I went into the room, bowled into the room and started this is light work. And then I've gone in there and it was 0.013 seconds that I had won by. So that's less than an eighth of a second I worked out, which that is ridiculously quick, amount of time. So he was on my arse basically is what I'm saying. It was very, very
He was faster in every other lap. So it was just the one that you got, just to point that out. He was
the fastest one?
Yeah, but he was quicker than you in every other, and it was only because I think his go-kart spun. Is that correct?
No, because we done 10 laps. So if his go-kart spun in lap 8, right. Let's say he still had.
So he was quicker on 9 of the 10.
Yeah, but right. I got the.
I got you. 9 of the 10.
I got the quickest one. So anyway, in the qualifiers, I've won, and then we've moved on to the main race. And what I will say is, if you win, you're meant to start a full car. Full car ahead.
Yeah, that is true.
Did I start a full car ahead? No. This is like a VAR decision, because it was half a car. So it's actually deemed void. I didn't lose, and we've got to run it back soon.
Okay, so so Ryan won.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So we're going to give you a quiz now because you like Harry Potter, so does Ryan. Have you got your card, Ryan, to write the answers down? So what we're going to do is ask you the questions. We're going to give you this pen and paper. 10 questions.
Is your phone still away from you? All right, cool. Because I do feel like he did.
So we got a Harry Potter quiz here because it's not gone well for you. I mean, and we've got to say to the Eden Project, you had an amazing day. You went on a zip line with your nan.
That was amazing and scary. I mean, the place was taught. They said that the Eden Project was the domes were bigger than Big Ben, and we was like another Big Ben on top of that. So yeah, it was crazy.
You bullied me into going on myself as well, which I didn't like.
But you conquered a fear.
Yeah, it's true.
There we go.
And then I tried to cut you up on the go-karting.
I was thinking, is this guy mad? Because we will have crazy road rage, and like whether this interview is going to happen or not, if he cuts me up, this is going to be catastrophic. Because
you came for me.
I wanted to beat Ryan so bad. Like it was like I was talking the most, like leading up to the race. I was like, listen, you lot are light work. Like anyway, where was your placement in third out of 3. So
I did it though. Ryan overtook and I let him go, and I thought, I'm going to cut you up. And then you had this like evil energy where I was like, okay, he's actually going centre, and I just let you go. And you looked back at me as if to say, yeah, good decision.
Yeah, I was not moving. I was not giving up. Lewis was not going to make me lose that race. But I would have. To be honest, now if you had cut me up, I would have had an excuse.
Well, you love Harry Potter.
I do.
So much so that, is it your daughter's named after?
Yes, Luna. My daughter's not named Luna Lovegood, but she's named after Luna Lovegood, yeah.
So question number 1. So I just want you to write the answers down. So write number 1 and then the answer.
This is a bit, I will be more annoyed if I lose this than the go-karting, honestly, genuinely, because
Nan's going to make sure Ryan's not cheating. So question number 1.
Okay.
What are the name of Harry Potter's parents? So question number 1. What are the names of Harry Potter's parents?
Why do you know this? Why are you writing? He's right, because if you don't know it, you wouldn't be writing down.
Question number 2. What is the name of Harry Potter's owl? So question number 2. What is the name of Harry Potter's owl? Question number 3. What is the name of Ron Weasley's pet rat?
Wait, this can have 2 answers. It genuinely can.
Okay, I will take...
Okay, I'm going to write both. I'm going to write both.
What is the name of Ron Weasley's pet rat?
He's struggling. Yes.
Question number 4. What is the name of Hermione Granger's cat? Question number 4. What is the name of Hermione Granger's cat?
You've got to write them down, bro, even if you got to guess.
Yeah, because we got to count them.
That is a hard question, I'll be honest, because that name is not mentioned a lot. So yeah, man.
So question number 4, what is the name of Hermione Granger's cat? Question number 5, what actor plays the character of Cedric in the 4th film?
What character? What, his real name?
Yeah, the actor's name. Is it Cedric Diggory?
Diggory? Yeah.
So what actor played him?
I know his name.
All I'll say is he's a big Hollywood actor and he went on to some huge things.
Yeah, just don't say what other films he's in, because I know what other films he was in, and I just can't. Oh my gosh, I know his name. I can't think of it.
You can come back to it.
I'm going to write it back in a minute. Yeah.
Question number 6. Who is Draco Malfoy's father?
Yeah, I've got that.
So who is Draco Malfoy's father? Question number 7. Who is the Half-Blood Prince? Question number 7. Who is the Half-Blood Prince? We're going to move on to question number 8. Which actress plays Bellatrix Lestrange?
I'm just not good with their names because to me, Bellatrix Lestrange is a real person. She's not an actress. That's how much I love Harry Potter.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a love, it's quite deluded. We should look at that separately. Which actress plays Bellatrix Lestrange? And it's a double barrel name, so it's something.
Yeah, no, I'm not even...
No. Question number 9. What is the name of Hagrid's faithful companion and dog? So what was the name of Hagrid's faithful companion and dog?
I'm just...
You know it.
We've
got to... Ryan, you were giving it large. We've got to write the total amount you got right.
I know, just give me 5 seconds on this one.
Your 5 seconds is up. Question number 10. When was the first Harry Potter film released? So in what year was the first Harry Potter film released? That's number 10. Any questions you want me to go over quickly? I know number 6. No, you got. Was it the question number 5?
It was who
actor's
played
name.
Cedric Diggory, and it was. I'm not going to say it out loud, but
So
right, I'm going to write an answer.
Is up on the quiz. So what I need you to do is swap your cards over. And then, we gotta give the answer. So you give your card, Ryan, and then so you're going to mark Harley's. Harley's going to mark yours. So we swap with the cards right now.
Oh, sorry.
For the inaudible description Ryan's given, we will put that on the subtitles.
This is...
So question number 1, I asked you, what was the name of Harry Potter's parents? The answers were James and Lily. What did Ryan put?
James Potter and Lucy Potter.
Okay. Did Harley get the correct answer? Yeah, okay. Number 2, I asked you, what was the name of Harry Potter's owl? The answer is Hedwig. Did Ryan get it right?
He didn't answer.
Okay. Did Harley get it right?
No, that was number 2. Like, you put that on number 3. Number 2, there is literally nothing.
Question number 3. What was the name of Ron Weasley's rat? Now, I've got Scabbers. Did you get that right?
He just put H.
What was the name of Hermione Granger's cat? And it's Crookshanks. Is that right? Is he doing well? Okay. Fair play. What was the actor that plays Cedric in the 4th film? And the answer is Robert Pattinson.
Oh my... Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, it's easy when you know. Question number 6. Who is Draco Malfoy's father? The answer is Lucius Malfoy. Imagine if he won go-karting with this. I mean, unbelievable. Who was the Half-Blood Prince? And the answer was Severus Snape.
He got that one.
The shock.
Yeah, like...
Which actress plays Bellatrix Lestrange? And the answer was Helena Bonham Carter.
No, I wouldn't have got that.
Number 9. What is the name of Hagrid's faithful companion and dog? And the answer was Fang.
Oh, I got it wrong.
And then the last question is, when was the first Harry Potter film released? And the answer was, of course, 2001.
Oh!
So how many did Ryan get correct out of the 10?
1.
Really?
Bro.
1. Okay. How many did Harley get?
6.
That's good. Really good. And it's a hard quiz. So, I mean, 1 and 6. So actually...
It sort of levels up the go-karting, doesn't it? Because this is a whitewash, whereas the go-karting was
can we just
controversial.
Point out, just while Shane's coming with a camera, can we just point out that we did manage to convince you, we went to the stunning Thomas Daniel restaurant last night, and we convinced you that Thomas Daniel was the patron saint of beef, and you believed it, and you put him up there with St. George and other things. I mean,
St. Patrick, everyone. I was thinking, that's crazy. This man must have...
And you kept reiterating, you're like, patron saint of beef. And you fully believed that he was the patron saint of beef, so much so that I really wanted you to go into the restaurant and actually say that.
It was the amount of time that I believed that for was real bad for me, because normally I'm quite on the ball, and that just says otherwise completely. Like, I was even saying to you, like, that's crazy, isn't it? Patron saint of beef. Like, it was that is outrageous. That I can't believe it.
Well done. I'll take Ryan's appalling answers back.
What answers?
1.
There's like... That is something I am so...
We'll put his Instagram handle on there so you can check him out, guys. I do want to just go... Obviously, we've spoken a lot now about the past, but the future is exciting for you because you've got some fights coming up.
Yes.
And it does seem like you've got yourself to a place where it's not just your name anymore that represents you, but it's you as a person. You're doing it on your terms, and you seem very... excited for that, you know?
Do you know what? I found a lot with what we've talked about today, sort of my dad and my relationship with them. I forgave him last month for everything. And...
In what sense?
For everything that I believe he's done wrong.
But have you told him that?
Yes, I did. And we was messaging a little bit last month, and I just let him know that I forgave him for everything. And when I say everything, for not being there, for not being a dad to me, not supporting, and I forgive him. And then that's genuine. And from that, I was so much more peaceful because, like, right now, do you know what? That's a weight off my shoulders. I can go on my own career, create my own, whatever it is that I create in boxing, whatever I can achieve in boxing, I'm going to have been able to say that I've done it on my own.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I don't want to be in anyone's shadow, especially if they don't support me. I definitely don't want to be in someone's shadow who doesn't support me. That's crazy. So I forgave him. Something I didn't ever think I would do.
Did you get a response?
Yeah, I did. We had a sort of bit of back and forth conversation, and I also apologised because listen, it's no secret that my mouth can run away with me sometimes when I'm angry or upset, and it has done massively in the past. So I also apologised for things that I'd said in the past, as well as I forgave him first, and then I apologised. And he told me he receives my apology.
I've never heard that before.
He receives my apology.
Genuinely?
Genuinely, he receives my apology.
What did you respond?
I just said we can sort of leave this here. I just wanted to sort of forgive you and also apologise. And I was thinking, don't know if I should have now, but no, all jokes aside, like I wanted to apologise for some of the things I've said, because I've said some horrible things out of anger and sadness and whatnot. That's just me being 100% honest. So I wanted to apologise for them things, and I wanted him to know that I forgave him for not being the dad he should have been, because I'm at an age now where I don't need a dad, in my opinion. I don't need a dad. A dad myself, and if anything, this sounds quite deep. The relationship that I've had with my dad has sort of taught me how not, like, I know how to be a dad because of that now. Like how he's taught me how not to be a dad.
Not to make the same mistakes.
Yes, not to make the same mistakes. And I think calling them mistakes is maybe a bit light. Make the same decisions, I would say, and because when I'm away from my son, and like makes me like, even I love being here, but I've missed my son loads. Do you know what I mean? And I can't wait for mine and my son's future together, and mine and my daughter's future together. But the reason that I'm saying son so much is because it was a father and son thing. So. Yeah, it was. It's now probably I'm more at peace with it than I ever have been, which is good, because I used to battle with, unrest from it all the time. So
when you first knew you were becoming a dad,
mm-hmm.
and obviously I know now you say you know not to make the same kind of decisions, but were you really nervous? Like, I don't know, because you were young. I mean, 18 years old. So you were still kind of battling your own demons. You weren't necessarily in the headspace you're in now. So I'm assuming you were really nervous about how do you deal with this?
Yeah, I shut my... Oh, sorry. I was shitting myself, if I'm honest with you. Like, it was and it was a shock. It wasn't like, it was a massive shock. Like, I was 18, and when I've mentioned times that I've gone off the rails, I was off the rails that time. I was getting arrested. I nearly went to jail around that time, and it was all a bit crazy. Like, I literally got let go by the Metropolitan Police as I walked out of Romford Police Station, got arrested by Essex Police, taken to Rayleigh, which is a place in Essex, and I thought I was going to get remanded. Ended up getting bailed, luckily, and literally it must have been 2 or 3 hours after I'd come out of the cells that I got a phone call to say that, my girlfriend's in labour, and it was just like a crazy, crazy time. So I was literally that close from missing birth, but I didn't. And my dad wasn't at my birth, so it was something I always set it in my head. Whenever I'd have a kid, I'd always be like, I'm going to be at the birth, no matter what. And I was. So it was, yeah. I look back on it now, and don't get me wrong, it was stressful. I passed out and all sorts, but it is what it is. And yeah, it was a surreal moment. It was, I thought, and it sort of made me angry. I'm like, I'm 18. I've just come out of police cells. I've done this, had no money at the time, nothing. And I wasn't even boxing at this time. And I hadn't even sort of, saved any money or anything like that. And I thought, I've still managed to get myself to this birth. I've had disagreements with her mum, but nothing's stopping me from being at the birth of my children. So, yeah.
You know, you've been in this interview sometimes quite open and honest in the sense of hard on yourself. You know, you said you were a problem child, you were this, you were that. But now, you know, you're at the age you are, and even speaking today, do you not reflect and think, actually, I've done quite well? You know, you're a brilliant dad, a great grandson, you know, you love your family and you have overcome a lot. So do you look back now and think, I've actually done all right?
Yeah, do you know what it is? The reason I probably don't do that as much as I should, I probably should look back and look at the growth and whatnot, is because, for ages I was a nightmare for my family, like my mum, my nan, and going off the rails and that. And okay, now I've had a few good years. Does that really balance it out? But do you know what? They love me regardless, and I love them. So it's, I suppose I should, I have come on a long way, because honestly, it could have really gone different ways for me. So I'm glad that I'm still sitting here now, able to have my freedom, have my life, and able to go on and pursue what I believe is going to be a really good boxing career.
And when's your next fight?
My next fight, I nearly said that I'm not allowed to. I literally just nearly spurted that out. Like, I'm not allowed to do that. It's coming very soon. It's my biggest fight to date. I've joined up with Mark Tibbs, who is a legendary boxing trainer, him and his dad, Jimmy. And I'm progressing better than ever, enjoying boxing better than ever. And it's going to be a real good journey, I believe, over the next however many years I decide to box. I think we're going to have some real good times.
Well, as a memento, I'm going to give you, because you won the quiz, I'm going to give you the questions on the card so you can take it back and know that you beat Ryan on the quiz.
Thank you very much.
So you've got your own little card there. But thank you so much for joining us on Live Stories. I've wanted this interview for a long time, and I think you're very misunderstood in the public eye from possibly the video you did with the son.
Yeah.
But today, to actually say it in your own words, this will go out exactly as it's been said. And getting to know you in this few days has been amazing. You're very funny, but you're very likable, very sincere, and genuine. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks very much. Harley, everybody.